So
They're
what,
so cute.
tell me what was like the most rewarding kind of communication you had?
Well, I think that one with the dog who wanted to die was one of those,
Mm.
definitely. And then one of the most rewarding for me, not necessarily for the human, I mean, it was okay for the human too, but for me, it was an extraordinary experience. Um, a friend of mine was feeding a feral cat, and she'd been feeding this cat for a while when it occurred to her, I don't know what she saw the cat doing or what she observed, but she thought, oh my God, this cat's declawed. If he's declawed, then oh my God, I've got to find a way to bring him in the
Yeah,
house. I
yeah,
can't let him be out.
yeah.
So she asked me to find out, is he declawed or not? So I asked the cat, and the cat said, no, I got my claws. And I said, and I wasn't trusting myself too much at this time. And, so I would keep asking the same question, which would annoy many animals, but it's how it was going. And so I asked him again, I said, are you sure? I said, and he said, yeah. And I said, well, can you send me something to show me that you really have claws? So there was a silence for just one moment. And then suddenly I literally felt claws growing from my fingers.
Oh,
I
wow.
felt the pressure of something coming forward out of my finger and then kind of curving downwards.
Wow.
And it was happening on both hands. And it was like, that was the most, I can't even explain what that felt like, but it felt like there was a whole energy coming into my hands and then coming out.
Wow.
And I couldn't see anything different about my hands, but boy, I felt it strongly. And I looked at my hands and I knew that there were claws there.
Wow.
And I said, oh my God, thank you for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I said, I see, I understand. You're right. And so I felt this kind of radiation of joy.
Yeah.
He was happy that I could understand that. So then I said, one other thing for me, please. Just do something, make an action, reach for something so that my friend can see
that
your
you've got
claws, can actually see them for herself. And he said, okay, I'll do that. And she called me 10 minutes later and she said, he has claws. Yeah. Because I was still typing my experience that I was going to send her, but she called me and she said, he does have claws. He reached out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
he reached
great.
out and he put his fingers out.
Wow.
Like
how amazing.
Yeah. So that for me was, especially being early on in my career. Yeah. My career has been brief. I really only started this in 2017, I think, 2017. So that probably occurred in 2018. And that was, and I've never experienced anything like that since.
That's so great.
But I'd love to again.
That's awesome. Because I imagine a lot of people will contact you or someone who does your kind of work with behavioral issues. Like I know when I first, I think, asked you to communicate with
Lana.
Yeah. Because we took her in as a declawed cat, which I never would declaw a cat. That's not a thing I would ever recommend people do that.
That's
don't understand. It's like cutting this portion of your finger off.
Of course it is, right.
But she didn't use the litter box. She was peeing on area rugs and things like that. Because there's always like a new influx. Like, I'm getting into a more senior part of my life, I'll say. But I see younger people, right, that they get a cat and you're like, why does my cat claw at the furniture? Why won't they use the litter box? Like behavioral things that people ask.
All the time.
Do you get approached by people like that with sort of simple, behavioral things like that?
Yeah, all the time. And what I want, the first thing I tell them is that, because they approach me, they say, well, tell my cat to stop blah, 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 doing this, doing that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to come across to your cat like that. I'm going to find out why he does it, and then I'm going to get you two together and see if you can work on creating changes that will create, in turn, harmony and make both sides happy. Both sides have to be happy. It's like any relationship with a husband and wife. Both sides have to be happy for the relationship to work. It's the same with cat, dog,
Sure.
iguana, whoever. That's the important thing that people want to learn. But I must say, most of the people who contact me are already in that frame of mind. They understand that, okay, maybe there's something I could learn here that will help this situation. So that's already a good start to place, a good place to start from.
Yeah. So, because dogs and cats are kind of, in my mind, very different energy about it. Like
very different.
Dogs are like about faith and unconditional love, and cats can be more on the wild side and a little bit more independent in general, which is, I think, the attraction for people that love cats is that sort of connection of like, oh, I love that independent spirit. I love that they're fierce and they're not really contained. They're not made to be subservient in some sort of way. So
you see, we do contain them, and that's why I always urge everyone I talk to give them some kind of outdoor access. Like I was fortunate enough to get my beautiful catio designed by you, and it is beautiful. Not everyone can do that, but whatever they can provide, so that it's such a happy thing for cats to be able to enjoy the fresh air, watch nature, feel the breezes, smell the air. There's so much to read in the air, and that's so good for their brains. No one can be stuck inside and have their brain not atrophy, with no stimulation.
And it's so nice to see so many more people are coming around to the idea of a catio.
They are.
Whether it's a little kind of habit trail thing or full screen and extension. It's really becoming, a good movement for people.
Oh, it's a wonderful trend.
You want your cats to have that sense of feeling that they own their territory and feeling that they kind of look out and defend it in some way in their mind, but not be put at risk.
Right.
Yeah.
And we want to protect our wildlife too. So it's happy to, but dogs too. I just talked to a dog who I said, well, at the end, I said, is there anything you want, your human to know that something that would please you? And she said, yeah. She said, I want to pick out where we go for walks. I want to choose which direction we go or where we go. And so I told her human that, and that's what she does now. She lets the dog choose.
That's awesome.
As long as it's safe, but they go.
That's awesome.
So there are all kinds of little things that we can do to make them happy. We just have to know about them.
Yeah.
And we can't think of everything on our own. But and one thing I do want to impress on people, and this happened to me. I had taken in a feral cat, and I was making inroads. Andre. And this goes back to your adopting Sophia, and anyone else who brings in a new cat into a home that is already inhabited by a cat. So he was beginning to play. He was, really. So then something happened, and a girlfriend told me, oh, this tragedy occurred. Would you be interested in taking this cat? And I thought, well, I had two very elderly cats at that time. So, and Andre was young, and I thought, well, great, maybe he'd like a playmate. It'll be great. So I went ahead and took in this other cat, Gaston.
Okay. I thought Andre was the feral, but Gaston was.
Yeah, no, Andre was first. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And so as soon as Andre laid eyes on Gaston, he looked at me, and I immediately I wasn't enough.
Oh,
Wasn't I
wow.
enough?
Wow.
And he was mad. And you know, he's never forgiven me for that. He did
Really?
make friends with Gaston. They played, now their relationship isn't so great, but I mean, it's aloof, um,
Hmm.
but for a few months there, they were playing and they were having fun. And, but he never, ever forgave me because now
Wow.
he never since he doesn't play with me anymore. He doesn't, he won't let me do any of the things we used to do together before, Gaston arrived.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's what I would tell everybody. You don't need an animal communicator to express this to your cat. But if you are contemplating bringing in a new cat or dog or, a new family member, then just try to tell them that this is what is going to happen or what might happen, as the case may be, and send images. Try to make an image of,
Right, right.
the new kitten or the new dog or whatever, and then try and explain why this is good. And believe me, they understand us much better than we
You think?
understand them.
Yeah.
So what you say, as long as you're saying it with a loving heart
Hmm.
and a clear mind, undistracted mind, and you're really just talking to them,
Yeah.
just the way you would another human, they'll get a large portion of it. The only time they have difficulty reading, what we're sending them is when we're kind of distracted and we're thinking of other things while we're talking to them. So if your mind is clear, they'll do it. So anyone out there can do that.
That's great. I
Mhm.
did try that with Chicho, just to bring this full circle before we
Did you?
finish up. Well, I thought about getting another cat to have a kitten in the house because, they bring so much joy,
Oh yeah.
that new kind of innocent energy. And at times I would really even literally say to him, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Um, he's sort of he's a tricky cat. But
Only because he was saying Nix,
well,
no.
that's the thing. I wasn't listening to him, and that's me being a little too dictatorial. But so many people, like with Square Paws, right? We make all this furniture, and so many people do fostering and adoptions, and um, I've had so many friends in the cat world that have, when I had three cats, were like, three cats? Talk to me when you're in the double digits. I don't want to know you until you have 10 cats. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm a crazy cat person, but I don't know how crazy. I guess not enough, but it is a tricky thing to have cats cohabitate. I mean, it's I find, but you have four males, which I was leery of bringing a male in with Chicho because he's territorial. I think he's very much like he's
Oh
a
yeah.
he's a very tender cat. Like he's not a bully, cat,
Right.
but he's sort of a psychological bully, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does.
You get that after doing a couple of sessions with him. He's an Aries cat.
Oh
Get
boy.
me started. I'm just kidding. No offense to any of the Aries. My best friends are Aries. But you have four males. How do you deal with that?
Um, you know, a lot of luck,
Yeah.
but and because I do talk to them, I
Yeah.
explain things to them. I explain almost everything to them. Why I'm putting a supplement in their food, or why they have to wear a collar to be rid of fleas. To not have fleas. It's a tag, at any rate. But when I first introduced that to them, they had never worn collars before, and these were adults. So, at any rate, I explained, and I let them sniff it, and that's fine. They let me put it right on, and no problem. But so communication is huge in that. But I'm lucky. I don't want to jinx myself.
Right.
But
Right. They
no
don't
one
spray.
sprays.
Yeah.
No
Spraying is the
one.
thing with male
No one.
cats.
And really, they're not big on clawing. They have uh, the scratching towers and things that we got from you, and they love those. And they really don't knock on wood touch the
Yeah. Knock
furniture.
on wood. It's good.
So I am lucky, but I know a lot of that is because after Andre, I always talk to all of them about introducing someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Such great advice.
yeah, and that makes a huge difference. And then while the introduction is going on, it's good to be able to talk to them and ease things out. So yeah. And what's odd is that how most people have to segregate the newcomer,
Yeah.
and then in stages, in each case, no one wanted to stay segregated. They
Wow.
got out and mingled with the others, and not one of my cats has spent 24, even an hour, in segregated from the others.
Wow.
So I let them, if they wanted to go out, okay, I let them out, and it worked out.
That's great. With Sophia, we did all the stuff, almost all
Yeah.
the stuff that you read with Jackson
Oh,
Galaxy,
yeah.
doing
Sure.
the scent-soaked towel between them, and she just still unaccepting. He's got to be the star. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, and that's just
all right,
it.
kid,
He
enough
does.
about you.
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone stealing his thunder.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's it.
he doesn't even
We'll
want a
correct
bit
him.
player, coming in and stealing
Right.
a little scene time.
Right. Right.
But hopefully, has he been any better? Let me see. I talked to him yesterday.
2 days ago, maybe.
2 days ago, maybe.
Yeah, Sunday.
Is he? Tell me he's been a little better. No, you don't have to.
He has been, but I think what's key is I live with my dad, and my dad likes to spray him. I mean, my dad's in a lot of ways old school Italian that thinks
Anyone watching this, that is not the right thing to do.
it's not the thing to do, and I keep telling him, but he doesn't listen to me. And
I know.
but when I say to him, well, Michelle, spoke with him, he's like, oh, like that's a whole different story. It's like, yeah, you don't listen to me, but Michelle said, don't do that, because you're driving a wedge when he attacks her or pounces on her, right?
Right.
He's doing what he thinks is the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
and when he's punished for it with a spray bottle of water, he's connecting in his mind. She's the source of a separation of love from my father to him, right?
Exactly.
She's the cause of the problem, and then that furthers the behavioral
because
problem.
he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong, so it must be her fault.
Exactly.
And she's doing this, and yeah, it just makes it worse. Yeah.
Well, Michelle, I want to thank you. This has been great. Great talk. I hope people who are listening or watching, after we post this, will leave a comment or reach out to you. How can people reach you if they want to?
Oh, well, they can reach me on Facebook, Michele Sanders, Animal Advocate. They can message me there, or they can call me at 321-638-7313. And
Great.
Leave a message, because I don't generally answer numbers that I don't recognize. But if they leave a message, I'll certainly get back to them, or that's pretty much it, I guess.
It's Michelle with one L.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'll put it
Thank
in,
you, Mario.
I'll write it out for people. But
yes, thank
might
you,
throw
Mario.
Well, great, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Well, it's been wonderful talking
Appreciate
to you.
it.
Thank
great.
you.
And
Namaste.
we'll speak again soon.
Oh, I hope so.
All right.
Bye-bye, Mario.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.